From the News Channel 8 studios, let's talk live with your hosts, Natasha Barrett and Doug McElway.
So, but first, how do you handle it when your family is coming over this week, next week, I should say, everybody's getting ready for that, and you know, everybody loves the turkey, everybody loves the pies, but they don't love the family intrusions.
They don't love Uncle Joe, is that what you're saying?
Everybody has that uncle, that aunt, that sister, that mom.
Or that brother or sister or the in-laws. You know, it can be a very, very difficult time. But life coach Margie Warrell is here now to tell us how to get through the bad news and the bad relationships that we all have in our families. Great to see you again.
Good to see you too.
This is a stressful time for a lot of people.
It is. And I think that the holidays are always the most stressful time of year for people because we have so many expectations of how it should be. It should be this wonderful gathering of family where everybody gets on, and
like it is in the movies and the Hallmark commercials.
Yeah, and we have these Martha Stewart-like images of how the table should be set, and anyway, and it never measures up.
Never happens.
You know, one area of real dissension in my family, I've discovered the hard way, is politics. I've decided and learned the hard way that I'm not going to bring up politics with my brothers and sisters.
Steer away from that.
We're all over the map politically, and I just, you know, and I've learned to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
Because I love them, and I don't
That's probably the best. You don't want to end up outside punching them across the face, right?
Yeah. You know, and I think they say politics and religion always, you know, steer clear. And the same in my family with politics. The same thing comes up. It gets very heated, and it really, for what does it serve? You know, we have our different opinions.
Right.
But I think that there's often other things that come up, you know, long-held resentments. You know, you think about family members, they tend to press our buttons more than anyone else does.
They know how, that's why. They know the stuff. They have the history on you.
Yeah, well, you know, they created our buttons. That's why they press them.
Totally.
And so they go all the way back to when you were 5 and 7 and 9. And so I think a lot of time people don't always act the way we would like them to act. They can be unreasonable, irrational. Sometimes they can be mean and petty. And you know, you're right, they know the things to say.
So the key question is how to react when they push those vulnerable buttons.
Yeah, well, I think it's important not to let their bad behavior or their pettiness or their meanness be an excuse for your own. If they're going to be nasty or mean or thoughtless, that's their thing. It doesn't excuse you to go and react back the same way.
I think the tough part is when you're bringing new friends, maybe new boyfriends, new people into the mix with your family for the very first time. A good friend of mine's doing this, and you know, she's worried about this character, but this one's going to be the buffer, so this will be okay. But everybody's been there, but we still force ourselves in these situations. So if you're worried, what do you do?
I think ultimately you've just got to like show up and do the best you can. I mean, you can choose not to go along to those things, but people want to go along and be part of the family. And you know, everyone has to be exposed, if you're getting married, to their partner's family at some point. You can't protect them forever. But I think, you know, sometimes if you know somebody is going to be a difficult character, you can get the buffer person in. You can say to them, you know what, please don't make any of those jokes that I know you like to make about that you think might be offensive. But also I think it's really important when someone's being kind of fickle and difficult, you know, just let it go. Let it ride on past you. Because, you know, if you respond, you
Margie,
just make it worse.
What will Jerry Springer do if we all solve our problems this way?
You won't have the people to bring on, right?
Yeah, well, you know, you can always have the big punch-up over, you know, in the middle of the table, but I don't think that that's really
wait till your guests go home, the in-laws to be, wait for them to go home. You suggested that maybe you should talk to someone and say, you know, save those racy jokes, save that criticism for later. But I think sometimes you could easily alienate your mother or whoever that is by bringing that up and risk something.
If there's something that you genuinely want to say, chances are there's someone who genuinely needs to hear it.
Okay.
So if somebody is consistently, continually bringing up, making jokes, whether it's a racy joke or it's some little innuendo or something that is offensive, if you tolerate it, it's going to keep going on and on and on. So, you know, I think you also need to make a stand and go, you know what, that's not okay for you to make those kind of comments.
See, this is why more stores need to be open on Thanksgiving Day so you can get a breather from those damn relatives. You know what I'm saying?
I do think it's important to take time out during the holidays. You know, it's very easy to get wound up and you end up being really stressed out. When you're stressed out, it stresses other people out. The kids get stressed out, your wife, your husband gets stressed out. So, you know, give yourself time out. I know when I go back to Australia, it's always this intense family gathering. I'm one of 7 kids.
Wow.
And, you know, it can get, after a while, it can get very intense. And I sometimes just need to take myself out of the fray and go,
I love my family. I don't want to really kill them, even though I'm saying that right now.
I'm going to be bigger than that. I'm not going to respond. You know, just because they're being that way, I'm not going to be that way. So,
and literally, sometimes it means just getting out of the house, going for a walk.
Going for a walk is a great thing to do. It really is just that fresh air, getting out. But just getting away from those people who do press your buttons.
Right. And the thing about this, pressing buttons like this, is that, as you say, your family knows you better than anybody, and even the subtlest little suggestion of where that button is.
The tone of their voice, you can tell.
Oh yeah, and you know, we can be very sensitive, hypersensitive, and very defensive with family members. You know, they might say something innocently, and we can respond.
It's like you resort back to when you were a child or a teenager, and your sister says something or your brother, and it's just, you go right back. It just happens.
It's like we could say, "I like your hair. What's wrong with my hair? You don't like my hair?"
You always talk about my hair. You never like my haircut. Yeah, I mean, totally. You must have sisters.
I have 3 sisters and 3 brothers, and they all, you know, everyone loves to rib everyone. And I think it's just, you know, sometimes letting stuff go, but the really important stuff, sometimes you need to make a stand on.
Margie, thanks for coming in. Are you having Thanksgiving with a lot of people this year?
I am. A lot of people.
A lot of
Take
family,
that walk.
family coming?
Take that walk.
I'm heading to California for family time with cousins over there.
Good place for a walk.
Yeah, great place for a walk.
Safe travels. Happy Thanksgiving.